Hi everybody, my name is Melanie Eisen. I am the Associate Director for Professional Development at the YU School Partnership. I'm excited to welcome you to this module on differentiated instruction. I was trained in differentiated instruction about 10 years ago when I was teaching second grade. I had been teaching for about 15 years and thought, I don't even know what this is about. I don't see how this can improve my teaching. What does it mean? I was trained by Dr. Scott Goldberg, who is now the Vice Provost of Yeshiva University. And what he basically taught us was that differentiated instruction is really a mindset. When we start to put our students' needs ahead of our own, when we start to look at our content, our learner outcomes, the questions that we ask, the assignments that we give, the activities that we design in a different way, when we start to look at them through the lenses of our students, how they learn, how they feel successful, building classroom culture, building their knowledge based on the knowledge they already have. When we learn to recognize that our students have prior knowledge, that they enjoy learning in different ways, then we can say that our classrooms are differentiated in nature. It's not a one and done. It's not a just let's try some tools and strategies. It's really about shifting your thinking to taking your lesson and differentiating it to meet the needs of a variety of students. Dr. Goldberg always said that we are trying to meet the needs of our students most of the time. Not every day, not with every lesson are you going to employ some of the tools and techniques that we're going to be discussing. But I challenge you to try to find your entry point, to find the piece that speaks the most to you, use it in your classroom, feel successful at it so that you'll continue to grow. My husband and I got married. My rabbi set us aside and said, before you get married, I have this piece of advice for you. His advice was light Shabbat candles. And I thought, of all the things to tell us, this is the piece that he's sharing with us. And I asked him why. Why that, of all things that will keep our marriage successful and will bring Judaism to our family in a real and meaningful way? He said, because if you light Shabbat candles and you start that way, it's a simple way to act to bring Shabbat into your home. You'll never turn back. You'll never stop doing that. You'll just keep adding. That was our entry point into our married life. In my classroom, it was different. I tried to choose the technique that I thought would help my students become more successful in the classroom, to help them grow as students and as citizens of our school. So let's start and see what we've got. So if you look at this picture, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. When we think about our 21st century, almost 22nd century students sitting in front of us, do we want them to be prepared for a lifetime of tests or for the test of life? When we think about the lessons that we're giving them, the assessments that we're giving them, the goals of our lessons, are you thinking about your students as to how they will take this content and make it their own? How what you're teaching them will help them to become better and active participants in your classroom? Are you thinking about the different students in your classroom when you think about the content? Or are you sticking to one and hoping that they fall into that place? When we think about differentiating our instruction, we think about taking that same lesson and putting ourselves in the shoes of each of those animals in front of you on this slide. How would each of those animals take that assignment? How will each of your students relate to the assignment, relate to the content? Over the next 2 weeks, we'll discover ways in which we can take our lessons and transform them so that they become more engaging for more of our students. If you look at this classroom, I am sure your students never look like this. But what I challenge you to do is that you shouldn't be the only one excited about that lesson. How, when your students walk into the classroom, how are they going to feel? What's going to be the challenge that's waiting for them? How will they be able to grasp the concepts? What are you going to do to take into account the different needs of your different students? Over the next 2 weeks, we'll discover different ways to do that. This week, we're going to start by talking about learner profiles. You'll learn a little bit about one of the founders of differentiated instruction, Carolyn Tomlinson. Carolyn Tomlinson is a professor at the University of Virginia. She first came upon differentiating the instruction for the parents of the kids who were the most successful, not the least successful in her class. When one of my children would come home from school with a stack of papers, and I would say, why do you have so many papers? And they would say, well, I finished one packet, so my reward was getting another packet. So Ms. Tomlinson said, maybe we shouldn't be keeping adding. Maybe the reward of understanding the material shouldn't be that you get a second packet. Maybe we need to look at that assignment to figure out different ways that it can become more challenging to some students and less challenging to others, but still helping them to understand the content that is so crucial for our students to learn today. Helping them to devise different ways to learn, helping them to be able to show how they learn in a variety of ways is what differentiating the instruction is all about. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. And that's what I'm challenging to you to do this week. Read the articles that I provided in the research section, listen to the advice from Dr. Tomlinson, turn to each other to find ways to help you to differentiate the instruction in your classroom. Let's work together to build lessons that will become challenging for your students and for yourself. Maintain the content level that you want to give them, but keep them learning, keep them active, keep them engaged. Let's have fun.